What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you right here, right now, today. And welcome to your AEW Dynamite review and results show for today, Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. Long Island, New York celebrates MJF Day. We're going to talk about it and so much more, so I hope you guys are ready. Kick back, relax, we'll get this party started in just a little bit, hit the introductions and everything, and your AEW Dynamite review results show will be coming your way next. Don't go away, because I will be right back. See you guys in a little bit.
This is M-Dog20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you are checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T.
Hello, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring. AEW.
How's everybody doing out there tonight, huh? Welcome to the show, guys. I hope you are ready. That you are ready, because we got a great one on tap for you tonight. We really do. We got a good one. AEW Dynamite. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you. Right here, right now, today. And we're ready to rock and roll and talk about another great AEW Dynamite episode on a Wednesday night, which was a pretty stacked show. We had a great main event. FTR's the new tag champs. We celebrated MJF Day. Switchblade Jay White made his debut in AEW. He signed out with AEW. He is all elite, I guess. So, we got a lot of good stuff that happened here on this show. So we might as well just dive right on into it and see what we got. Before we do that, if you guys have any questions or comments regarding AEW Dynamite, you guys are more than welcome to call the show live on Skype using Big T_119. You can check out my website, www.beyondtheringwithbigT.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at BeyondTheRingBT. You can like me on Facebook at Beyond the Ring with Big T. You can follow me on Instagram at Beyond the Ring with Big T. All that good stuff. And then, if you guys want to help out the channel, make sure that you please use the hashtag Justice for Pretty for pet rights, because pets are family. Me, Mom, and T, Little Pretty, we all appreciate it very much. And Pretty will always be our bright little shining star, and we love you very much forever and ever, my sweet little angel. And, of course, also don't forget to donate to the show on PayPal by clicking on this link in the description of this video. Thank you guys very much. That link that you see Becky Lynch pointing up at, that's the link you want. That link is pinned to the top of the YouTube live chat, the Facebook live comments, and it is also at the top of the description of this video and every single video that I do. And there's a PayPal button, on my YouTube homepage as well. And you guys want to donate, big or small, it'd be very much appreciated. It helps the show out, so thank you guys very much for all of that. Alright. Now that we got everything out of the way that we need, let's get into AEW Dynamite review and results show here for Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. Tony Khan's major announcement, MJF Day, FTR puts their careers on the line, and more. So tonight's AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. Tonight promises to be a special episode of Dynamite, as Tony Khan has promised he will make a very special announcement that has been hyped up as one of the most important in the history of the company. Elsewhere, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF will be getting celebrated on MJF Day, which promises to be met with a huge atmosphere because the show is taking place in Long Island, New York. The expected main event also has a lot on the line, as the AEW World Tag Team Championships are on the line, as the Guns defend the gold against FTR, who have put their careers on the line in this encounter to earn a shot in the first place. That will not be the only title match on the show, though, as the AEW World Trios Championships are also going to be put on the line, as House of Black competes against the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. The House of Black attempted to attack the Best Friends on AEW Rampage last week, but they were saved by the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy, to set this match up. Hook will also be defending his FTW World Heavyweight Championship against All Ego Ethan Page, whose faction has been causing problems for Hook for a while. Hook for a while. So, Hook, he's been really good, on a roll, undefeated. Nobody's been able to beat him as of yet. And, who knows if somebody will or when they'll be able to. So, we'll see. But anyway, the final title match of the night will see Jamie Hayter facing Riho in an AEW Women's World Championship encounter. The Acclaimed will be giving their answer to the Jericho Appreciation Society's offer to join them, while another person who is feuded with the JAS will be in action, as Absolute Ricky Starks faces Rock Hard Juice Robinson, who attacked him recently. Speaking of attacking, the Blackpool Combat Club are expected to speak on the show to explain their recent behavior, and finally the Spanish God Sammy Guevara will be aiming to keep pace with the rest of the pillars of AEW as he faces Commander. And now we start off the show with Absolute Ricky Starks going one-on-one with Rock Hard Juice Robinson. So before the match could even start, Switchblade Jay White's music hits, and he sprints down to the ring to attack Ricky Starks, alongside Rock Hard Juice Robinson. As the two of them then hug in the ring, Starks manages to fight back after that, attacking White in the corner, but he runs into a huge boot to the face from Rock Hard Juice Robinson. And that is followed by the Blade Runner from Jay White, as Ricky Starks is left laying in the ring. So Jay White, I guess, is now officially All Elite. That's what we're looking at here. Let's see. I mean, the news that we have on Jay White, coming into this is exactly this. Switchblade Jay White appears on AEW Dynamite and attacks Absolute Ricky Starks. Jay White's future has been a source of much speculation recently, especially following his departure from New Japan Pro Wrestling after losing a Loser Leaves New Japan Pro Wrestling match at Battle in the Valley back in February. Some reports linked him with a move to the WWE, but AEW nabbed his signature in the end. As documented by Tony Khan on Twitter, Jay White has yet to comment at the time of this posting. Tony Khan tweeted out a graphic at 8:03 p.m. tonight saying that Switchblade Jay White is all elite. So, Switchblade Jay White has indeed signed with AEW, and that's a perfect move for him. Tony Khan's confirmation that Jay White signed with AEW came following his shocking appearance on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Switchblade Jay White was part of the opening segment, which saw him help Rock Hard Juice Robinson deliver a beatdown on Absolute Ricky Starks, and it appears that Switchblade Jay White has his first feud lined up, and aligning himself with Rock Hard Juice Robinson suggests that the Bullet Club will have a role to play in AEW moving forward. As of this writing, it remains to be seen if Switchblade Jay White will continue to work with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tony Khan's tweet indicates that, Switchblade Jay White signed an AEW contract as the All Elite graphic is reserved for full-time roster members. However, AEW's working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling has been well documented, and it enables stars from both promotions to work at each other's shows. Both companies will also have another joint show this summer in the form of AEW NJPW Forbidden Door 2, and it will be interesting to see if Jay White gets involved there. Last month it was reported that Switchblade Jay White held talks with AEW and with WWE, as Jay White was supposedly split on which company to join at the time, though White himself has yet to confirm if he held talks with Vince McMahon's WWE Sports Entertainment promotion. So there you go. That's the news on Switchblade Jay White, who is now officially all elite. So that's what we have there. Now let's take a look at what our next thing is, shall we? Okie dokie. Chris Jericho is then shown backstage and says he has nothing against Adam Cole, and he's pleased to see him back. He had a good match last week, and he got the win. Then Britt Baker comes down, and Adam Cole, he has the girl, then he has the streamers, and then he has the celebration. Meanwhile, Daniel Garcia is in the ring, and Jericho says Cole punked him out, and he had to stop his disrespect. All of a sudden, Limitless Keith Lee comes, he turns up, he walks up to Jericho and says that Jericho has been the poster child of disrespect since he got here. He admits he has had hard wars with Adam Cole. He's had hard wars with Adam Cole and is not fond of him, but he's got respect for him. As he says then next week he might teach Jericho a thing or two about respect, as Jericho leans back and appears visually scared. So it looks to me like we're getting Chris Jericho versus Keith Lee. That's going to be the original, or the next storyline that we have. Two WWE guys coming into this. Let's see. Allison Tuckwab, how you doing? Let's see. Are they really bringing Punk back? He's going to bring bad energy in the room with the wrestlers. Yes. I honestly don't know what they're going to do with Punk. You see one report that says they're going to bring Punk back. Then you see another report that says it looks like Punk's done, or it's going to be up to Jericho, or it's going to be, up to Jericho and the Bucks and all the EVPs. So, it's kind of tough to speculate where they're going to go with it, but I know that if they bring Punk back, I think they're just asking for a lot of headaches, and I think Tony Khan would be asking for a lot of problems and maybe even get some of the roster to walk on him. But then again, now at this point, with Vince McMahon pretty much taking back control of WWE, especially on Monday night for Raw, would wrestlers really walk out of AEW now at this point, knowing that Vince McMahon is lurking in the backstage area of the WWE? I don't know. Yes, exactly. Bring bad energy in the men's locker room or anywhere in the building, because wherever Punk goes, negativity follows. Wherever he goes. It happened in WWE on more than one occasion. In AEW, we saw it starting to happen with Hangman, and then we saw it just totally blow up at All Out. So, it's crazy. It really is. I hope they just stay away from him. I think that would be way better if they just stayed away from Punk, cut their losses, let him go. He might be a needle mover. He might be, he might be somebody that brings in revenue for a company. But when he is actively causing drama within your company and all that, all the drama, all the headaches, sometimes revenue just isn't worth it at that point. So, glad to hear you're doing good, Allison. Thanks for joining on in. Alright, we have something here. Let's see, what's our next match? There we go. Next match. Invincible, what's going on? How you doing? After Chris Jericho and Keith Lee, we got an AEW World Trios Championship matchup. We got the AEW World Trios champions, the House of Black. Brody King, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews defending their AEW World Trios Championships against the Best Friends of Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy. And, of course, Orange Cassidy is the current AEW International Champion, but this is a World Trios match. Oh, Invincible, of course. Punk is CM Punk is the biggest diva. Really. He's the biggest diva in any locker room. He just wants things his way. He's not happy unless he has things his way. It's just how he is. That's how Punk is. Listen to this. The challengers, the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy, they arrive in style. As Trent Beretta's mom, Sue, drops them off in her minivan, Sue is actually driving them into the arena. Trent Beretta, then they make their entrance, but to start off the match, Trent Beretta starts things out with Malachi Black, as both these men go back and forth with several strikes until Beretta hits a jumping knee strike to take control. He brings in Chuck Taylor. Both of them work together, but Black gets the best of both with his striking ability, as Brody King then tags in and starts throwing big chops. King misses with a senton, and Taylor rocks him with a kick, which leads to Buddy Matthews tagging in as Orange Cassidy does the same, throwing his glasses at Matthews in the process as he aims for Orange Punch, but Matthews avoids it, and he blocks a DDT with his strength to hit a big Snake Eyes. King then runs and takes out both of his partners before chopping Orange Cassidy in the corner. This leads to all 6 men getting in the ring as they all brawl around the ring, and then inside the ring, Orange Cassidy sends Buddy Matthews to the floor, while Brody King runs and hits a crossbody that sandwiches Chuck Taylor into the barricade. Orange Cassidy looks to hit a leap of faith back to Matthews and Malachi Black, but they catch him and launch him into the ring apron as Trent Beretta flips over the top rope, but they catch him as well, throwing him into the ring apron before launching him into the air for King to nail him with a forearm strike. King then bullies Beretta in the ring until Black tags in, but he gets caught with a kick to the head. And Orange Cassidy gets in the ring with a crossbody while he sends Matthews out as well. King sprints at him, but Orange Cassidy avoids it, and he dives out and takes down his teammates before the Best Friends flip Orange Cassidy over the top rope to take all their opponents down. Inside the ring, they hit a triple powerbomb, yet Black kicks out. Everyone involved then takes each other out in a sequence until it is Malachi Black and Orange Cassidy standing face to face, and Orange Cassidy hits his light, slow kicks until Malachi responds with a huge knee. Orange Cassidy does his Stun Dog Millionaire, and that allows Trent Beretta to return with a clothesline against Black as he then gets dropped with a pile driver. Then King is hit with the Orange Punch and a pile driver by Beretta, but Malachi breaks up the pinfall. Matthews almost gets caught with a roll-up from Taylor, but he fires back by stomping Taylor, right into the mat face first to retain their trios titles for the 1, 2, 3 and the pin and the win. Your winners and still the AEW World Trios Champions are the House of Black, getting the wins over the Best Friend and Orange Cassidy. And I gotta say, this was a damn good match. I like this trio. I like this trio's match. I thought it was good. Very entertaining. Let's see. What's up, Jordan? How's it going? Let's see, Allison. Did you know WWE moved? I thought they were closing, but they're just moving. I thought they were going out of business like WCW did. That's what... Let's see. I thought that's what was going on, but they're just moving. Yeah. Actually, what they did was they moved from their original headquarters of Titan Towers, and then they ended up going to some bigger, I forgot, like an 8-story building, like twice the size, a big headquarters, and that's basically all it is. Let's see, after Vince McMahon took control of creativity, I see Bayley left. She was there wrestling, and Damage Control is still there. Those other 2 women, but eventually they'll probably need to. Yeah. Well, what happened was, Bayley was supposed to accompany them to the ring. Vince scrapped it. Vince, he loves to change plans. Now I know there was no matches scheduled for Monday Night Raw when the show hit the air on Monday night. It's insanity. It is complete insanity that Vince McMahon runs a business the way that he does. And, there are people out there that actually, they stand by him. Why, I don't know. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me, but some people are just heavy Vince McMahon supporters. I am not one. I can tell you that in all honesty. I am not a loyal Vince McMahon supporter because he doesn't do anything to help the WWE. He just pretty much hurts it. But, this was a great trios match here. House of Black kept the titles. Interestingly enough here, listen to this, guys. Luchasaurus returns to AEW Dynamite. Christian Cage has summoned a ghost from Jungle Boy Jack Perry's past on Wednesday night. Former AEW World Tag Team Champion Luchasaurus returned to AEW Dynamite in a backstage vignette which saw Luchasaurus emerge from a room full of red light. Made me think of Kane from back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And Luchasaurus, not uttering a word, As of this writing, nothing else has happened with either Christian or Luchasaurus. The appearance marks Luchasaurus' first appearance on AEW programming since November of last year, when he lost a steel cage match to Jungle Boy Jack Perry at AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view. So, I mean, Luchasaurus has been gone for like 4.5 months at this point, almost 5 months. Christian has also not wrestled since his final burial match loss to Jungle Boy Jack Perry at the Revolution pay-per-view. While the video was quite dark, it is possible Luchasaurus was wearing a new mask, as Luchasaurus recently found himself at the center of a lawsuit regarding his mask design. According to the lawsuit, AEW had the right to use the mask in a wrestling capacity, but not in merchandise or action figures, as the company has been doing so. Luchasaurus is an AEW original, wrestling for the company since its inception in 2019. He recently betrayed his former championship-winning tag team partner, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, in favor of the dastardly Christian Cage. Jungle Boy Jack Perry is currently involved in a potential rivalry that has been brewing amongst the 4 pillars of AEW. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Darby Allin, the Spanish God Sami Guevara, and the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF. The 3 men interrupted MJF's rebar mitzvah on an episode of AEW Dynamite earlier this month. On Wednesday night's episode of Dynamite, Jungle Boy Jack Perry got into a pull-apart confrontation brawl with MJF that ended with the Spanish God Sami Guevara posing with the AEW World Heavyweight title belt. Darby Allin was also shown looking on during the segment. He was up in the rafters. So this is the most recent news that we have on Luchasaurus. Let's see. The other 2 women from Damage Control will probably leave to event, and I think the veterans would stay there and teach the rookies stars. You know what? It's possible. It's very possible, Allison, with the fact that, especially now, if Vince is really going to take over and he's going to be running creative again. I mean, he's fired. He really has fired Dakota Kai before. Triple H brought her back. Io Sky, who knows how Vince McMahon feels about Io Sky. I don't think he was too big on her, because when Vince was there, the farthest she got was NXT. Triple H got there, Triple H brought her in pretty much immediately. So, I mean, you could be looking at all this as, yeah, maybe they'll end up leaving. Maybe Vince will end up firing them. I don't know. But, I mean, if Vince is back there with any kind of control, if it really does become a reoccurring thing, a lot of wrestlers, I think, need to be concerned at the possibilities of what could exactly happen, you know. Oh, I wish too. I do. I wish the people that were investigating his stuff, yeah, that they would make a surprise visit and catch him. That's what I thought, too. I didn't think he was supposed to be doing creative. It's supposed to be Triple H. That's what we all were informed. But I'm thinking maybe Vince McMahon found a legal loophole with his legal team somehow to where he's somehow allowed to do this again. I don't know how, but we all know that Vince McMahon has some of the most crooked lawyers on the planet. So, I mean, come on, Jerry McDevitt being one of them, and who knows who else exists in the McMahon circle of attorneys that, you know, got him off of these charges more than likely, and now he's just back to doing what he used to do, and it's frustrating. It's very frustrating because we know how much better, you know, WWE is under Triple H compared to what we've seen from a Vince McMahon production on Monday night. So yeah, after Christian Cage was shown near a room with red lighting and smoke, Luchasaurus made his return. After all that, we got the AEW Women's World Championship match We got AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter with Dr. Britt Baker DMD in her corner, defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Riho. So Jamie Hayter looks for Haterade several times, but Riho's too quick, and she almost catches Hayter with a Hurricane Rana into a pinfall attempt. However, Hayter starts to show her strength with a trio of shoulder tackles, but Riho uses her speed again to respond with a drop kick as Hayter looks for a break outside the ring, but Riho hits a crossbody to the floor to continue the attack as she takes Hayter down. Back inside the ring, Riho's crossbody is caught, and Hayter connects with a gutbuster, which gets a near fall as she then nails a kick to the side of Riho's head as she pushes onto the ropes, and then the two of them brawl on the ring apron, trading blows until Hayter spikes her down. Back inside the ring, Riho tries to light up Hayter with a series of chops, but that is something Hayter reverses. Let's see, Hayter reverses. Hold on here. My whole thing moved on me. Let's see, Hayter reverses with a couple of dominant slams as Riho is then sent headfirst in the turnbuckle. Riho manages to turn things around on Hayter, and she is able to hit a 619 and then a diving crossbody. But Hayter kicks out just in time. She then hits a German suplex and then a dragon suplex, but it's still not enough to get the win. She then misses with another top rope move into a neck breaker and a running lariat, and this time it is Riho having to kick out to keep the match alive. So, Hayter then looks for a brainbuster, but it is reversed into a DDT, and both women are down. Hayter places Riho onto the top turnbuckle, but Riho gets the best of it with a Hurricane Rana, which is followed by running knees. Yet, Hayter gets her foot on the ropes to stop the pinfall. Riho continues the attack with a barrage of shots into Hayter's neck, but she replies with a big boot and then the Haterade, but Riho kicks out again. That is followed up by the Ripcord Haterade that she throws everything into, and this time Riho can't reply as Jamie Hayter gets the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win. And your winner and still the AEW Women's World Champion is indeed Jamie Hayter. After the match, Jamie Hayter shows her respect to Riho. And that was actually a really great match between these two. I thought they did a great job. It was more exciting than I thought it was originally going to be. You know, these two, they really did put a great match together with one another, and I think they should be proud of what they presented to everybody here tonight. You know, they should. They really, really should. They really, really should. But, Vince was never supposed to have control over the business. He has a little control, like Triple H is supposed to do creative, and then, Vince was supposed to facilitate a sale of the company. And, he facilitated a sale to the company, alright, and then the day after they got sold, and it's officially sold to Endeavor, Vince McMahon gets back in the creative hot seat. Unless it's a thing where Vince McMahon's going to do creative on Raw and Triple H will do creative on SmackDown. Or is it possible that this was just a one-time thing for Vince McMahon and this is all we'll get from him? Or is Vince McMahon back full-time? There's a lot of different moving parts here. When it comes to the whole Vince McMahon situation, it's scary when you really think about it, though. Renee Paquette is then shown with the Outcast, Saraya, Toni Storm, and Ruby Soho, and they congratulate Hayter, all the Outcasts do, but they tell her not to get attached to the title, as they are here to get control by one of them becoming the AEW Women's World Champion. They say which one of them isn't the concern right, or they say which one of them isn't the concern right now. So, we'll see what happens with that. Invincible. It's, you know what? Vince, it was, you know what? It was actually first tweeted to me by a couple of people, you know, saying, oh, Vince, yeah, that he does have the Hitler stash. Honestly, if you look it up, Vince looks like Gomez Addams from the Addams family. Look up Gomez Addams. I don't know if you're familiar with the Addams family, but if you are, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Vince McMahon has the Gomez Addams mustache. He really does. Because Hitler just had the little patch in the middle of his lip. Gomez Addams had the pencil-thin mustache that went all the way down like Vince McMahon. I'm telling you, Vince McMahon copied Gomez Addams. That's what he did. He really did. But, you guys ready for this? Daddy Magic Matt Menard and Cool Hand Angelo Parker, they come out to the ring. Daddy Magic asks if people want to know what makes his nipples hard. He's like, do you all want to know what makes my nipples hard? Yeah, that's how Daddy Magic talks. You guys know how he talks. As the answer is the Acclaimed joining the Jericho Appreciation Society. So the Acclaimed then arrives, and they barge past, you know, Parker and Menard. You know, then Caster starts rapping, and, you know, the next thing you know, when Caster raps, he says that they can't join because Chris Jericho is full of shit. However, they get their big entrance cut by Cool Hand Ange, who says it sounds like they want to fight together. So he got them a match on AEW Rampage on Friday night this week. Parker then tries to hit the catchphrase, you know, scissor me, daddy ass. Billy Gunn is like, no. Shut that shit down right away. And Billy Gunn says it is only done by, scissoring is only done by professionals. And, you know, Anthony here is going to show you guys how it's done. So Anthony Bowens does the whole thing. Scissor me, daddy ass. And then they do the, you know, the whole thing, the whole handshake, everything. Everybody was going nuts for it tonight. Everybody loved it. That's what they did. And that was it. That ended the segment. Yeah, but only done by professionals. So remember now, if you're not a professional, you can't scissor. You can only scissor if you're a professional, according to Daddy Ass. So that's what we got there, but but yeah, good stuff. Good women's title match. So far, so good. Everything's going the right way. This was my favorite part of the night. You know what, honestly, my favorite part of the night all the time is MJF. I mean, how could you not enjoy MJF? And MJF Day was a really important day. Because I don't know if you guys heard, but let's see. Where's the stuff about MJF? Because I was reading some stuff about MJF, and I laughed. I thought it was funny. I mean, he was taking this thing, like, serious to the max. MJF Day rules were revealed ahead of AEW Dynamite. Happy MJF Day! AEW returned to the UBS Arena on Long Island for tonight's AEW Dynamite, conceding with the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF's hometown of Oyster Bay, New York, declaring Wednesday, April 5th, 2023 is MJF Day, and presenting him with the key to the city earlier this week. However, to commemorate the special occasion, MJF has put out a set of rules on social media for fans to strictly adhere to, or risk ostracization, most of which line the champ's pockets with financial benefit. MJF Day rules, he tweeted out important. MJF Day rules. If you see MJF, you have to admit that he's better than you and you know it, and then hand him $50. Everyone who attends Dynamite at the UBS Arena must come with a scarf or be refused entry. Everyone who attends the show must buy MJF merch or be escorted off of the premises. Everyone who is not attending the show must buy MJF merch at shopaew.com. When you wake up on MJF Day, you must listen to at least 3 songs by the following artists: Louis Prima, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Sammy Davis Jr., and Justin Bieber. And lastly, if you see a homeless person on the street, kick them in the ribs. That's what MJF put. That's what he wants people to do. So MJF is sure to step foot in front of the local fans in order to celebrate the holiday. Although it wouldn't be surprising at all to see the festivities interrupted by any of the other 3 of AEW's 4 pillars: Jungle Boy Jack Perry, the Spanish God Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. In recent weeks, each had made it abundantly clear that MJF's title is something they are targeting and coming hard after. MJF successfully emerged from Revolution with his reign intact. Nonsensical celebrations have become the norm for MJF lately, though. After defeating the American Dragon Bryan Danielson in their 60-minute Iron Man match at Revolution, MJF has been especially braggadocious, more so than usual. In the days following that victory, he held a rebar mitzvah for himself, which did not end quite so well for himself, namely with a face full of cake, birthday cake, because it was MJF's 27th birthday then. As we will see if tonight's event follows a similar path of embarrassment for Maxwell Jacob Friedman, or if the UBS Arena will be filled with Burberry scarves, as the champ has requested in his honor. So those were some rules for MJF Day. If you wanted to celebrate MJF Day, that is what you had to do to prove that you were loyal to MJF. Let's see, I hate to say this, but the only way Triple H gets created back and gets the superstars back is if Vince McMahon crosses over, and then Triple H can get everything back in order. Yeah, Vince McMahon would have to cross over to the other side. He would, of course, I'm not wishing it on anybody, and I never would, but that's realistically the only way, because it's the only thing that's going to put Vince down is he has to pass away, and then once he passes away, then whoever's wanting to take over could step in probably, because Vince McMahon is just going to try to keep going and going and going and going and going. That's just how he is, and he can't let it rest. They're screwed. What's up, Darth? Alright, so AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF almost cried receiving a key to Oyster Bay. As the celebration of MJF Day continues, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion has remained shockingly sincere in his comments to the media. MJF says, and I quote, "I don't know if you could tell. I almost cried up there," MJF told the New York Post about receiving the key to his hometown of Oyster Bay, Long Island. MJF says, and I quote, "This means everything to me. This place is home, and now I have a key to that home." MJF goes on to explain that his hometown struggled with MJF, over his severe attention deficit disorder. as the community is so strong and tight-knit, and when people found out I was going to try to achieve this incomparable dream, people came together. MJF says again and again that he will never leave Long Island, New York. Emboldened by stories of locals gathering at bars, to watch MJF beat Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight title at AEW Full Gear back in November. MJF says, and I quote, I'm proud that people at home that are from this place know that I genuinely have a deep caring and yearning to come back every week. MJF professed, and I am never going to leave. MJF then tried to slip back into his character, explaining that he was only looking out for the people of Long Island and not disgusting pores from anywhere else in the country. However, as MJF was receiving the key to Oyster Bay for his contributions towards battling anti-Semitism, MJF says that he is also available for the Jewish community as a whole, as there is not a lot of us. He said it is because we have been killed off time and time again. MJF Day will take place on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023 in Oyster Bay, Long Island, New York. AEW will be presenting tonight's AEW Dynamite from Long Island's USB Arena in Long Island, New York. So that's everything you need to know about good old MJF. So, now we can get into MJF Day, if you guys are ready to talk about MJF Day. I am. I hope you guys are too, because MJF Day is something that will bring, I think, plenty of joy to everybody. How could you not want to talk about MJF Day? So, MJF Day. MJF is shown getting his key to the Oyster, or his key to the Oyster Bay, Long Island, New York key. He then has a live band playing him out to welcome MJF to the show. So, the band then begins to play, and MJF sings Pennies from Heaven live for the fans. The supervisor of Oyster Bay arrives and gets heavily booed, which MJF tells fans not to ruin the moment for him, as he then presents MJF with the key to the city again, as he announces this will be known as MJF Day in the town of Oyster Bay. They have made the key much bigger just for you, meaning for MJF. And he hypes up MJF once again. MJF says it is a huge honor and others don't deserve it, like Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. MJF has a story about his childhood in Long Island, New York, as MJF reveals that he has ADD. MJF admits growing up with that had disadvantages at times, and he couldn't focus at school, as he then calls out one of his former teachers, who would pounce on him when he lost his concentration. Now, she asked where his brain would go in class, and MJF's answer was, oh, that's easy, professional wrestling, that's what he would think about. So she told MJF, the chances of that happening were slim to none, but MJF tells her that her math was a bit off. MJF's lesson is not to be like his teacher, and by that he means, not to be like his teacher, and by that he means don't be a stupid bitch. MJF then asks if people want to hear an encore, and the crowd pops, but one of the musicians starts too soon, and MJF, he gets pissed at this guy. He loses it at him, After MJF yells at the guy and turns back around to talk, this guy steps up and takes off the hat, takes off his glasses, his mask, everything he was wearing. And it turns out that it is Jungle Boy Jack Perry. MJF turns around, Jungle Boy punches him to take him down. Both men brawl, with Jack Perry actually being booed here because they were in Long Island, New York. And MJF getting cheered until security could pull them apart. And Sammy Guevara... then Sammy Guevara makes his way out as all this is going down, right? As MJF and Jungle Boy are getting pulled apart. The Spanish God, Sammy Guevara, makes his way out to the ring. He comes down for his match. But Sammy Guevara sees Jungle Boy on the right side, MJF on the left side, in the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt right in the middle, right smack dab in front of him, as he's making his entrance. So Sammy sees the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt, and Sammy Guevara picks up the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt, and he holds it up in the air first, then he goes and holds it up in Jungle Boy's face, then he goes and holds it up in MJF's face, and I believe he just gave him the title belt back right then and there. But still, Sammy Guevara really trying to get under the nerves and skin of really MJF and Jungle Boy. Let's see. Let's see. Where do we go? Alright, here's the next one. Sammy Guevara versus Commander. Are you guys ready for Sammy Guevara versus Commander? Sammy Guevara and Commander. Commander's from AAA, if you guys remember. AAA is, for you guys that might not be familiar, that's the top lucha libre company in Mexico. So, that's where Commander came from. For people that don't know, just to kind of fill you in on everything here. But we got Sammy Guevara versus Commander. Sammy Guevara actually used to do work in AAA. Sammy Guevara, he actually was the mixed tag champions with his wife, Ty Mello, in AAA. So, Sammy Guevara, he's very familiar with the whole AAA landscape. And now, working with Commander from there. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Allison. When people send in questions, I've seen that on Joe Cronin's show. How he's got the voice box that read out the questions of what people say. I have seen that, and yeah, I believe it. That definitely does. That does save your voice for sure. Yeah, I have seen that. That's actually when Joe gets, when he gets the donations and they come in and then there's questions with them and then, that machine, whatever it is, it reads out everything that comes in. I have seen that. Joe, you know what? Joe's actually, he's a really good guy. He's like the only YouTuber that I watch, and we actually, what is it? It's been, I think it was about like 2 years ago now. I actually did a show with him. It was really cool. Had a great time. Had a really great time with Joe. But yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about and what you're referring to, for sure. And yeah, it's a good idea because it does. It saves your voice and it just reads everything off and then you just continue and you go on with it. Let's see now. with Sammy Guevara and Commander. Let's talk about this match. As Commander is taking off his ring jacket, Sammy Guevara attacks him, and then he springboards from the ropes with a moonsault to the outside to wipe out Commander. Sammy takes too long with the follow-up, and Commander hits a super kick as Sammy dives from the top turnbuckle, and he follows it up with a shooting star press from the top rope with Commander, then climbing to the top rope on the opposite side of the ring as he runs and leaps off, but he gets nailed by a boot to the face in midair by the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara. Back inside the ring, Commander responds with a reverse Hurricane Rana off a springboard, but Sammy kicks out of the following pinfall attempt. Commander then walks the ropes again, and he leaps from the top rope to take out Sammy once more on the floor. Commander then lands on his feet with a shooting star press attempt as Sammy avoids it, but he is instantly kicked in the face by Commander, and he then hits a Phoenix Splash, but Sammy kicks out. Commander once again walks the ropes, and his shooting star press attempt is reversed as Sammy gets his knees up, and Sammy then goes for the GTH, which is the go to hell, but Commander reverses it with a roll-up, and Sammy gets out of that roll-up, out of a 2 count, and then nails a pump kick. Yet, his follow-up move doesn't happen as Commander catches Sammy with a kick while Sammy's on the top turnbuckle. But as Commander walks the ropes, he gets caught again, this time with a beautiful cutter from Sammy. That walk the rope spot right into the cutter was some really cool stuff. So Sammy's in control. This is followed by a GTH from Sammy Guevara for the 1-2-3 and the pin in the win to get the win in this match. And let me tell you something. This was a pretty damn good match. Your winner is the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara had more to say. And I love how they did this with Sammy Guevara, and they waited for Sammy Guevara to cut this promo right now in Long Island, New York, because this was going to get him heat. This was going to get Sammy Guevara major heat, at this point. So I thought this is really, really cool here. But let's get into the promo. After the match, Sammy says he just did something that, our champion MJF never does. That's wrestle. So, of course, the crowd goes, boo. Sammy says the shit, he's like, what was that shit I was just watching? Was it American Idol? Because MJF with the singing and the band that he had out there. Sammy then points out that when he and MJF actually got in the ring back in 2021, Sammy had MJF beat until Shawn Spears got involved. Sammy then says if they're the 4 pillars of AEW, it's safe to say that MJF's side wasn't built by him. It was built by others as MJF lied and cheated and manipulated his way to the top. And Sammy admits that he's jealous of that. He's jealous of that. Now, at this point, let's see, he's almost jealous of it. Sammy then asks who the hell MJF is, as he was Cody's friend, Cody Rhodes' friend. He actually used Cody Rhodes. He's like, until you weren't, because MJF turned on Cody Rhodes. Then he says, Sammy says, then you were Tony's friend, and then you weren't. Then you were in the Inner Circle, and then you weren't. Then you were in the Pinnacle, and then you weren't. And then you were in the Firm, but then you weren't, as Sami then claims MJF bought his way to being a pillar of AEW, whereas Sami fought and put his heart and soul into this place, and he's going nowhere. He's not going anywhere else, and he will be damned if he's letting a rich bitch like MJF tear things down with the bidding war of 2024. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it that Sami brought that up. Sami then claims that he is going to be the next AEW World Heavyweight Champion. What a great thing here. What a great thing here. I love it. I absolutely love the whole thing with Sammy Guevara cutting this promo. I thought it was amazing. So right now, after Sami cut this promo, everybody was just, they were booing. Sami was getting booed because MJF is the hometown hero. I loved everything about it, you know, I really do. So let's see what we got right now. After Sami. After the awesome promo. Now we got a couple quick matches. You know, these parts weren't long. And then we got the main event that gets a little bit longer. So now we're at like the part of the show where it kind of cooled down a little bit and things got a little bit shorter. But so far, I mean, up until this point, everything has been hot. Everything's been running hot, you know, according to, or, you know, with the way the show's going. Really, it has. But now let's take a look here. FTW World Heavyweight Championship matchup. Got FTW World Heavyweight Champion, the undefeated Hook, defending his FTW World Heavyweight Championship against All Ego Ethan Page, who has Matt Hardy in his corner. So All Ego Ethan Page, he talks trash to Hook to start the match, but he is instantly sent flying across the ring due to a T-bone suplex, and as Hook tries to follow him, All Ego Ethan Page charges him into the ring apron. He then throws Hook into the steel stairs, and then into the ring apron before dumping him back into the ring, as he then tries to pay tribute to Matt Hardy with the Twist of Fate, but Hook reverses the Twist of Fate and hits the Twist of Fate himself. Isaiah Cassidy, who's out there, then provides a distraction, and All Ego Ethan Page attempts to use the FTW World Heavyweight Championship belt as a weapon to hit Hook in the head with it, but Matt Hardy grabs it. Matt Hardy and All Ego Ethan Page have a tug of war with the FTW World Heavyweight Championship belt. Matt Hardy wins. He gets his hands on the title. And then next thing you know, Matt Hardy nails All Ego Ethan Page right in the face with the FTW World Heavyweight title itself, which sets Page up for the Red Rum from Hook, as Page taps out of the Red Rum. And your winner by submission and still the FTW World Heavyweight Champion and still undefeated, Hook. Undefeated, undisputed FTW World Heavyweight Champion Hook. There you go. After the match, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy head to the back together as Hook shows respect to them with some fist bumps. So Matt Hardy and Private Party look to finally have gotten their way out of the firm, or at least away from All Ego Ethan Page. We'll see where this goes. If they're going to do Matt Hardy versus All Ego Ethan Page and tie up loose ends here, I wonder if this means that, I wonder if, you know, the whole thing with this is that now Jeff Hardy's due to come back soon. If Jeff Hardy is due to come back soon, I mean, please, I would love to see Jeff Hardy back. I would. I want to see Jeff Hardy back. I want to see Jeff and Matt go for those tag titles. I hope this is what we're looking at, you know? So we'll see. Alright, folks. Right now, after this, this is big. This is what we gotta touch on. So after the match, like I said, Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, they head to the back together as Hook shows respect to them with some fist bumps. Now we got some stuff we gotta touch on here with good old Tony Khan, who actually had a big announcement that was a big announcement. So let's speak on this. First off, I want to let you guys know, remember how Tony Khan hired Michael Manzarek, who was a former WWE employee, the guy underneath Kevin Dunn? Well, AEW now hires former WWE Vice President of Communications, Adam Hopkins. All Elite Wrestling has made a new addition to its backstage operations, this time beefing up the public relations end of the company. PW Insiders reporting that former WWE Vice President of Communications Adam Hopkins has been hired by AEW, though no official title was confirmed. According to multiple sources, Hopkins began work with AEW last Wednesday, attending the live broadcast of Dynamite. The news comes fresh off of AEW announcing the hiring of former WWE commentator Nigel McGuinness, as well as the reported major announcement that AEW President Tony Khan has been touting for tonight's AEW Dynamite. After 25 years with the WWE, many credit Hopkins with maintaining lines of communication between the company and the pro wrestling media, and also with shaping Paul Triple H Levesque's initial vision for WWE NXT in its fledgling days. Hopkins left WWE earlier this year, with confirmation coming via former WWE champion Big E, calling Hopkins a true professional with a true professional and a great human. When news of Hopkins' release broke, Hopkins is not the only member of WWE's office to recently be hired by AEW. The AEW also brought in former WWE Vice President of Global Television Production, Michael Manzarek, into the fold ahead of an aesthetic refresh for AEW Dynamite that kicked off at the start of the year for 2023. Not only has AEW strengthened its production and PR end, but AEW also expanded its talent relations department in the middle of last year, giving new backstage responsibilities to Pat Buck, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, Tony Schiavone, and others. So, there you go. Okay, so that's big news for AEW, and then, as we continue on with more news, leading up to the big announcement tonight, there's backstage buzz ahead of Tony Khan's very important announcement on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite is set to feature an important announcement from the company's president, Tony Khan, while the specific content of Tony Khan's announcement has yet to be revealed. There are a few possibilities as to what it might be, as detailed in a new report released by Fightful Select. One such is the potential for a show in the United Kingdom at the OVO Arena Wembley at some point during the summer. AEW announced last November that it will be heading across the pond for two events. A brand new Saturday show could also possibly be in the works, as Fightful mentioned that they have heard it brought up and have long heard chatter that there could be some roster parity in that sense. While there is a slight possibility that the announcement could relate to Ring of Honor traveling a bit more soon, after talent voiced that they would enjoy doing such, it is more plausible that this will not be the case and is more wishful thinking at the moment. Rumors regarding the return of the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk to the company have been swirling around as of late following his lengthy absence. However, that idea was seemingly brought to a halt after following a controversial Instagram story posted to Punk's page late last month. While he was allegedly in talks with Tony Khan regarding a return to the company, Fightful seems to agree that this is unlikely to be tonight's announcement, despite chatter that the two parties have talked many times in recent months. So that was one thing. Now, what did we actually end up getting? What did we actually get tonight? Well, this is what we're going to talk about. This is exactly what we're going to talk about. Tony Khan announces first AEW All-In will be held at London's Wembley Stadium that holds over 90,000 fans. Tony Khan's very important announcement is almost certainly the most ambitious event in the history of All Elite Wrestling. During Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite, Tony Khan, alongside the freshly All Elite Nigel McGuinness and Adam Cole, baby, revealed that AEW is reviving the All-In branding for a pay-per-view at London, England's 90,000-seat Wembley Stadium on Sunday, August 27th, 2023. The event will mark AEW's debut in the United Kingdom and its first show outside of North America. A ticket pre-sale will begin on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 at 11 a.m. BST, which is British summertime, and fans must pre-register on Ticketmaster's British website to get early access. Tickets go on sale to the general public on Monday, May 5th at 2023 at 9 a.m. British Standard Time. May 5th at Cinco de Mayo, baby. An AEW press release stated that the Live Nation Entertainment, the parent company of Ticketmaster, will be involved in the production of the event. The announced date for All In will land just 1 week before Labor Day weekend in the United States, the traditional date for AEW's All Out pay-per-view. While AEW has yet to confirm the date for that event, one wrestler appeared to confirm it is still happening. Anthony Bowens replied to a fan on Twitter, saying All In will not replace All Out, and the latter will be held the following week. What? Wait, whoa, what the fuck? So they're going to, AEW, just because they're going to England, they're going to have 2 pay-per-views in 2 weeks. They're going to have a pay-per-view on August 27th and then a pay-per-view the next week. Why? I mean, I love AEW, don't get me wrong, and their pay-per-views are fucking amazing. But why would you have 2 pay-per-views 7 days apart from one another? Really? Come on. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to have All In, and then All Out will be like part 2 to All In? I mean, I don't understand what they're doing, but anyway. All In will be the first professional wrestling event staged at Wembley Stadium since WWE held SummerSlam there in 1992. It was also WWE's last stadium show in the United Kingdom before last September's Clash at the Castle event in Cardiff, Wales. WWE is bringing another major event to the UK this summer, WWE Money in the Bank, which is scheduled to be held at London's O2 Arena on Saturday, July 1st. So, AEW is looking to make a big name splash, guys. A big name splash. And there is some news here that I think you guys would be interested in. Oh, JQ James, that is complete overkill if that's indeed what they're going to do. Because WWE is going to have a pay-per-view on Labor Day weekend too, so that'll be 3 pay-per-views in 7 days. Just like on Memorial Weekend. They're going to have King and Queen of the Ring on Saturday and then Double or Nothing on Sunday. What is with these holiday weekends, Memorial Day and Labor Day, getting all this damn wrestling? It's extremely hard to cover when they do this shit. But there's a huge update on Nigel McGuinness' AEW status after working Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. Following his return to commentary at last week's Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor pay-per-view event, it looks as though Nigel McGuinness will continue to work under Tony Khan's wrestling umbrella. The AEW president and Ring of Honor owner Tony Khan announced today via Twitter that Nigel McGuinness is now All Elite, calling the former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion a legend in pro wrestling. Nigel McGuinness was released by the WWE last October following a run as the color commentator for WWE NXT from 2017 to 2020, and then positions on WWE 205 Live, WWE NXT UK, and WWE NXT Level Up over the next couple of years. After nearly 6 months away from the spotlight, Nigel McGuinness made an appearance during the 0-hour pre-show at Supercard of Honor and stuck around to do commentary for the entirety of the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor event, the first time Nigel McGuinness has returned to Ring of Honor since 2016. As of now, it is not entirely clear what Nigel McGuinness's position will be going forward. Though he received the All Elite graphic, Tony Khan previously hinted that Nigel McGuinness would be a good fit for commentary on the revamped Ring of Honor brand, while Nigel McGuinness will almost certainly do commentary for one of the two companies. It is not an impossibility for the former Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Noah champion and performer to step back into the ring for Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness has not wrestled since 2011 after dealing with a series of injuries and eventually being diagnosed with hepatitis B. In recent years, however, Nigel McGuinness has gone on the record a number of times stating that he could wrestle again if he wanted to. Still, it seems much more likely that Nigel McGuinness will stay at the commentary desk, where he has built up a great deal of skill over the last decade. So, that's what we got. That is what we got. Figured I'd give you guys a little bit of news brush up and tell you guys what we got as far as these big announcements and everything. I mean, very cool stuff. Very, very cool. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, exactly, JQ James. Sometimes less is more, and Tony should know better. He really should know better. So, Nigel McGuinness is then chilling backstage with Tony Khan. He says he says some moments once seemed impossible, and this is one of them. Tony Khan reveals 5 years ago there were 5 pioneers: the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega, and himself, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega. They put on All In. That got interested from around the world. And AEW reveals on Sunday, August 27, 2023, that AEW is going to London, England, and it will be AEW's first All-In pay-per-view. Because the first All-In show was, under, just the Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and Omega. They put that all together themselves. That was not under an AEW umbrella. Now this will be under an AEW umbrella. That's what's going to happen here. Adam Cole, baby, then turns up with Nigel McGuinness and Tony Khan, and he says that the first ever AEW All-In show is coming to London's Wembley Stadium. Which, I mean, that shit is huge right there. That is really, really huge. Alright, guys, so right now, what do we got here? Blackpool Combat Club explains their actions after that historic announcement. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in London, England, though. That's going to be fun. Blackpool Combat Club hit the ring and they instantly start attacking their opponents, just brawling with them as they all get launched around the ringside area. Inside the ring, Wheeler Yuta locks in a single-leg crab as his partner tries to make the save. Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley stop him and launch him into the turnbuckles as Yuta then hammers, elbow strikes down on his opponent, and then a crossface leads to him submitting. And that was that. I believe the guy that submitted was Leon Ruff. Am I right? Let me know. So your winners of the Blackpool Combat Club are Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli. Now Bryan Danielson, who was in street clothes, Bryan Danielson gets on the microphone and Bryan Danielson explains. Bryan Danielson then explains that he has been at home with his family, who he loves. He also loves Jon Moxley ripping at people's mouths. He loves that. And he loves Claudio Castagnoli destroying people. And he loves Wheeler Yuta even if he is a shithead. Danielson also loves professional wrestling. So then he questions if the people, if they just beat, if they just, look like professionals. He says they are people the EVPs might have hired. And they're amateurs. He looks around the locker room and thinks they are the only professional wrestlers in the building. But this leads to Hangman Adam Page power walking down to the ring and his music hits. And the American Dragon Bryan Danielson says that is another amateur making his way to the ring. As he asks Hangman what he's got. And the Cowboy tries to start fighting, but he is immediately outnumbered. He points out nobody is coming out because nobody loves Hangman Adam Page. So the American Dragon Bryan Danielson says he has been teaching his children about fixing things. And, he thinks that the House of AEW needs to be fixed up. And he then gets a screwdriver out and starts attacking Hangman Adam Page's head. So, what are we going to get? Danielson and Hangman now? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, let's see. Invincible says, props to Tony Khan for calling out Cody in a positive way. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting that he calls out, Cody Rhodes in the way that he did, considering that WWE, just pretty much set, Cody Rhodes just got done with his big match at WrestleMania and he didn't win. He didn't win. But Tony Khan is still out there, I guess, hoping for the best for Cody. But yeah, so far so good. Alright, what do we got next? So after this, I love the new Blackpool Combat Club. I want to see Blood and Guts match. I want to see all the Elite against all the Blackpool Combat Club. I want to see this personal. I want to see this be a blood feud. It's something like this that you want to throw in a Blood and Guts cage. Because it'll just go perfectly. Blood and Guts, Elite, Blackpool Combat Club. That's exactly the type of match that we need, to keep everything going good here. And everybody will be invested in it. Everybody will love it. I know I'll love it. I would think you guys would love it too. You know how good that match is going to be? But yeah, taking the screwdriver to Hangman's head and... Brian's actually playing a great heel here. I love the heel that he's playing, too. He's really healing it up. So, all in all, this is just a win-win all the way around, I think, for everybody involved in this. Blackpool Combat Club is looking better than ever. Really, they're just looking better than ever. Let's see. What else did I have here? Got some news on Brian Cage, who's involved with AEW and Ring of Honor. Before we get to the main event of the evening and talk about the main event, let's get a little bit going on Brian Cage. Now, Brian Cage remains a free agent despite holding a championship in Ring of Honor. In the weeks leading up to Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor, a lot of speculation focused on Brian Cage. And not just because he's 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. The AEW and Ring of Honor Stars deal was reportedly set to expire around that time, which made Brian Cage, Khan, and Toa Leona's successful title defense over AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik seem like a surefire sign that an agreement had been reached for Brian Cage to stick around. However, it appears that isn't the case. Fightful Select reports that Brian Cage still hasn't signed a new deal with AEW and Ring of Honor, and he is currently working in the two promotions without a contract. However, that doesn't mean Brian Cage is leaving, as he and Tony Khan are continuing to negotiate in an attempt to reach a short-term deal while negotiating a longer-term one was even proposed. The discussions between the AEW and Ring of Honor and Brian Cage camps are said to have been productive. It was noted that AEW Ring of Honor had attempted another way to keep Brian Cage under their umbrella long-term here, as the two sides had discussed extending Brian Cage's deal due to the time he missed with injury upon initially signing with AEW. Brian Cage ultimately pushed back against the idea, though the continued negotiations seemed to suggest there were no hard feelings on the matter. Interest in Brian Cage has jumped since reports emerged of his contract expiring, with big names in AEW reportedly, pushing for Tony Khan to sign Brian Cage to a new deal. Tony Khan himself stated at the post-Supercard of Honor press scrum that he was looking to secure Brian Cage long-term. It was also reported that there was interest in Brian Cage from WWE, though given the upheaval in the promotion this week, it is unclear how feasible a deal with them still is as of right now. So, that's what we got with Brian Cage. Now, let's see what Invincible has to say. Brian Cage has been very underutilized, just like 4 or 5 other stars in AEW. Sad to say, Jay White is next, another lost star in space. That's my issue with AEW. Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing here. And this is the problem that I have with their shows, with their television shows. There's an issue here. The thing is, they have too much talent that they can't use them all. Let's just call it like we see it. They are unable to use all the talent that they have. There's way too much and they don't have enough TV time. So that's a big problem there. I'll tell you that right now. Another big issue is Rampage and whatever this new show Collision is going to be on Saturdays. They're not using Rampage to showcase their big stars, and they have plenty of them. Collision, I don't think, will do the job either to show off their big stars. What AEW needs to do, instead of doing 3 shows a week, Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, they need to scrap Rampage and they need to scrap Collision. Or take Rampage or take Collision, probably Rampage, and turn that into a 2-hour show instead of getting Collision. We don't need 3 shows. Have 2 2-hour shows. Have Rampage become AEW's B show. It would be like AEW's SmackDown, and Dynamite would be AEW's Raw. And then what you do is you put that on a fucking Tuesday night or a Thursday night, whichever one you choose that you want. Okay, you can do either or. Yeah, I would probably say, since the bigger show airs first in the week, Dynamite being on Wednesday, I would say air Rampage on Thursday. Back-to-back nights. You can move Ring of Honor to Tuesday, and then you have Dynamite, Rampage, Wednesday, Thursday, back-to-back, 2-hour shows. They can be used for your biggest stars in the company because you have enough big stars to where you can utilize them every week for 4 hours of content, and there'll probably still be some guys that won't even make it on the card yet because AEW has so much. But there's 4 hours of television. Why would you want to be AEW and have 4 hours of television under 3 shows, but 2 of those hours of television are 2 1-hour shows where you're just using the people that should be competing on Dark or Dark Elevation, when you could just turn Rampage into a 2-hour show and make it SmackDown-esque. And then Dynamite is the flagship, which is their Monday Night Raw. It's very simple. This is all Tony Khan has to do. I don't understand what's so hard about that creative aspect of it. Battle of the Belts, he could have did the same thing. Why is Tony Khan not doing important Battle of the Belt shows? He's got these special Battle of the Belt shows, like now you got the Ring of Honor tag titles. I forgot what other titles, and nothing big, the TBS title, and the matches are not good. They're good, they turn out to be good, but what I mean is, they're not important, you could have those, Battle of the Belt shows, be 2 hours. I said those should be 2 hours. They should air on TNT. And when you do Battle of the Belts, every single title in AEW should be on the line. No Ring of Honor titles, just AEW. We should have a TBS title match. We should have a women's title match. We should have an international title match. We should have a TNT title match. We should have a tag team title match for the men, and a women's world title, and an AEW men's world title match. 6 matches, right? 6 matches. 6 title matches. That's what your Battle of the Belts should be every single fucking quarter that you have Battle of the Belts. Now, one of the matches on Battle of the Belts is Jade Cargill going up against Billie Starkz. No insult to Billie Starkz. I know she's a hot young prospect, in women's wrestling, but still, do you think she's going to beat Jade Cargill in, why are they having a Ring of Honor World Tag title match with Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall against the Lucha Brothers? Why? It's things like this they need to fix. If they would fix these minor things, AEW would be a perfectly well-oiled machine. That's the problem. They do great at everything they do, and they're way better than WWE from what we saw on Monday night. But they have their own issues, and why Tony Khan will not fix. Why he will not fix these certain issues, I have no idea. I'm at a loss. I don't understand it. I don't get it. When Tony Khan could just have 2 shows, Dynamite, Rampage, 2 hours each, make them feel special, and then at Battle of the Belts, you only have 4 of those a year, make them 2 hours with every title in your company on the line. You only have pay-per-views every quarter. Okay? Pay-per-views only come every quarter. Battle of the Belts only come every quarter. So that's 8 events a year, and on pay-per-views, sometimes you don't get all the championships on the card, but most of the time you do. But Battle of the Belts, you could make it that where you get a big world title match. You get these big title matches, and it's just not there. I don't get it, but there's my 2 cents. Let me know how you feel. That's let me know how you feel about it, because that's where I'm at. And now we can finally get into our next piece of business, which is actually our last piece of business on AEW Dynamite tonight. So let's get into it. I'll tell you what we got, because we actually had a pretty damn good tag team match tonight with a lot on the line. So next up is our match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. We got titles versus careers. We got the Guns, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn, or as people like to call them, the Ass Boys, because they're the sons of Billy Gunn, defending their AEW World Tag Team Championships against FTR of Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. And FTR is putting their AEW careers on the line in this match. If Cash and Dax don't win the tag titles tonight, they are out of AEW. And more than likely, everybody was saying at that point they'll be going back to WWE, which is not the case because FTR got the win tonight against the Guns. And how we got there, we're going to talk about that right now. Let's see. Yeah, see, Invincible gets my point. And JQ even gets it too. Yeah, put Rampage on Thursdays and make it 2 hours, giving the people more TV time that they seriously needed, and Battle of the Belts once every quarter on Thursdays. It's simple. Yeah, Battle of the Belts, really? You know what? No, Thursdays is Rampage night, JQ. Once every quarter for Battle of the Belts, with that being on TNT, they should get that on Thursdays. Not on Thursdays, on Tuesdays, I'm sorry. Put Battle of the Belts on Tuesdays. Battle of the Belts with every championship on the line on TNT in a primetime spot would beat on NXT any day of the week, so Tony Khan wouldn't even have to worry. Especially how NXT is these days now, since it's not black and gold anymore. So they're so, see, like I could even fix up AEW's creative end of things of what they're missing. You know, there's a couple of things out there that make me scratch my head. Let's see, and if Brian Cage decided to go to WWE, he's still gonna have the same issues. WWE's got their own crap to deal with. Vince McMahon himself is going to be an issue in itself, exactly. And what's going to happen once Endeavor really gets settled in there and the UFC and the WWE merge? I mean, are the companies going to have a name change? Are they going to be having like UFC versus WWE and wrestling matches, UFC versus WWE and UFC style matches? I don't even know what the fuck's going to happen with the company once everything gets all settled in. Or is everything just going to remain the exact same as it is? I don't know. Or is Vince McMahon just going to take full control and we're going to get shitty creative like we have been used to for the last decade or more? Really, like more like the last 15 years under Vince McMahon. Yeah, I mean, it's a big mess. It's all a big mess. So let's talk about the tag title match. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about the tag title match. Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood dominate early on with double team moves and regular tags, as Colton Gunn is forced to scramble out of the ring as the champions regroup outside. Wheeler then hits a sliding dropkick to Colton, but this allows Austin to grab his boot, and Colton dropkicks him from the ring apron to the barricade, as Colton then sends Wheeler into the turnbuckle and then plants him on the mat, but it only gets a 2 count. Austin then brings himself in and continues to isolate Wheeler, but he manages to attack Austin with a kick as he tries to make a tag, but he gets dragged back to stop it, only for him to keep fighting. Harwood comes in with a series of jabs, chops, and forearms as he begins attacking both men, hitting a crossbody to Austin and a short arm clothesline to Colton. Austin then gets caught in an inside cradle, but Austin manages to kick out. FTR then works together to drop Colton with a double drape DDT from the second rope, and Wheeler returns to action as he nails several chops, but FTR makes a blind tag and hits a spike pile driver only for Austin to kick out. They aim for the big rig, but it is blocked. However, when they try it a second time, it connects, but just as the match is won, Colton pulls the referee out of the ring at the last second as, Austin and Colton, they want the disqualification finish because even if they lose by disqualification, FTR still would have to leave AEW because they wouldn't become the AEW World Tag Team Champions. But the referee doesn't ring the bell, basically saying, no, you're not going to, get rid of FTR by getting disqualified. So now as Cash Wheeler gives chase, Colton sends him into the steel ring post. Harwood then sends Colton to the barricade as they collide heads. And Austin hits the Famouser, almost getting the win, but Harwood kicks out. Harwood responds with a couple of pinfall attempts, but Austin manages to kick out each time, and he then nails Harwood with a low blow. But Wheeler blocks the disqualification finish, only for him to be dropped with a double team from, the Guns. Harwood and Austin, they then fight at the top turnbuckle, and the Guns try to use the titles to cheat, their title belts to cheat. But while the referee blocks one of them, Colton slides another one in, and as he goes for a diving headbutt, he hits the title, yet he kicks out again. I thought that was it. I thought Dax was out, but Dax kicked out. I mean, all that heart, all that heart kept him going. Harwood keeps fighting back, and Wheeler then blocks a double team by diving from the top rope to roll up Colton, while Harwood does the same to Austin as, double roll up on from FTR to the Ass Boys at the same time. Ref does a double count for the 1, 2, 3 and the pin and the win. And as FTR, they become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions, and they save their AEW careers. And your winners and the new AEW World Tag Team Champions are FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. And even better, after the match, Mark Briscoe hits the ring after the match to congratulate both Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, as, they were paying tribute to Jay Briscoe here on this. And that was, that of course was emotional to see. But, I mean, this match was great. This match, really, it was great. FTR got the win. I mean, how can you not be happy about this, really? And I'm so glad that FTR is going to be sticking with AEW. Let's see, Invincible says, seriously, man, it's common sense to fix Rampage. I don't get why they aren't putting the foot to the pedal. It's like they are deliberately going on cruise control. Yeah, I don't get it, because Tony Khan has everything, all of the resources available to make Rampage such a huge success. I've been saying it for over a year now, maybe even 2 years at this point, maybe. I'm like, Tony Khan has to, I've been saying it for probably a year, or since Rampage started. Oh, sorry, but since Rampage started, and you can't have that show on a Friday night at fucking 10 o'clock. That's a death spot. And not only that, you're putting it on right after SmackDown. You're putting it on right after SmackDown. Like, people are going to want to watch more wrestling. It's bad enough that SmackDown's on Friday night. I would prefer no wrestling on a Friday night. Really, what it should be, this is what it should be. It should be Raw on Monday, SmackDown Tuesday, Dynamite Wednesday, Rampage Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you got nothing. That's how it used to be. You used to have Raw on Monday, SmackDown Tuesday. And then when Dynamite started, you had Dynamite on Wednesday. Now they have Rampage, put Rampage Thursday. 4 days, it's done. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're good. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. But then you got Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all this bullshit. No, put it all together, get it done. Get wrestling off of Friday nights. It doesn't belong on Fridays. It's like the worst night of the week to have wrestling. Because the ratings always struggle on a Friday night. Because, probably more than half the country goes out on a Friday night. And even worse, Tony Khan puts Rampage on at 10 o'clock on Friday night after people are done with a 2-hour SmackDown. And some people, more people even go out even later on a Friday night. So by 10, 11 o'clock, you're really not going to get viewers. I don't understand what his point is by that. If you're going to do Rampage on Friday, at least put it on at 7 o'clock. Have Rampage on it from 7 to 8, SmackDown from 8 to 10, and then you're done. If it has to be on a Friday, at least do that. But 10 p.m.? You talk about a death spot for ratings, man. That's horrible. But yeah, JQ James, absolutely. Thank God FTR won. FTR still have so much more to give to AEW and tag team wrestling in general. They could even, can maybe do some work for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Who knows what they can do. There is a lot that they can do. There is a lot for FTR to still accomplish in this business. I just hope that something gets fixed. And, with all of this wrestling and WWE needs to slow down on pay-per-views like AEW does. They only do quarterly. But I mean, they got to stop all this wrestling on Memorial Weekend, on Labor Day weekend. They're having 2-3 pay-per-views on a fucking Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend. No, it never used to be like that. They got to stop doing this stuff. See, there's a lot of things that they could stop doing that they just keep on doing. I'm just saying that in all seriousness. There's plenty of ways. Like I always said, WWE is not the only guilty one here. AEW is guilty of some things too. And this is everything that I just went over specifically. So, take it what you will. Take for it what you will. But, let's see. For those of you wondering, I saw this news, here on Billy Gunn, and I figured I'd throw it in at the end of an AEW show, since Billy Gunn is an AEW guy. Everybody's been talking about how Billy Gunn is in such good shape these days. Well, Billy Gunn actually just talked about this. Billy Gunn explains why he's in better shape in AEW than he was in WWE. Let's find out why. 2022 brought about a resurgence of Billy Gunn years after what was seen as his glory days in WWE as a member of D-Generation X. Billy Gunn found new life in AEW as the scissor-friendly daddy ass mentor to the Acclaims, Anthony Bones and Max Caster. And he somehow did all this while managing to look like he's still in his 30s while being nearly 60 years old. During an interview with Chris Van Vliet over the weekend at WrestleCon, Billy Gunn got to talk about his new approach to physical conditioning, commenting on how it is he ended up now in the best shape of his career. Billy Gunn says, and I quote, "I am only because I put effort into it now, Billy Gunn said. It is like a lifestyle for me. It is never an easy question when they ask me, what do you do? I go, it is just a lifestyle. It is not your lifestyle. It is my lifestyle. My lifestyle is what I enjoy, he added. I love doing this nutrition stuff. I love playing with my workout stuff. And I needed an outlet besides wrestling because it just consumed everything that I did. However, unlike in the past, he put forth much of a commitment to following a plan than just winging it. So Billy Gunn says, once I a few years ago, when I kind of wanted to start doing shows and kind of get into what this is about, he continued, instead of just eating everything that was in front of me and, just go lift heavy weights and go, I'm good, I'm a bodybuilder now. No, there's way more into that. So, this was from Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Wrestling Inc. did the transcription. And there you go, guys. Ending it with that little story. Yeah, Billy Gunn, Billy Gunn does look good. Billy Gunn definitely got himself into shape. Brock, he's still big, man. I wouldn't sleep on Brock Lesnar, but hey, Brock is strong. Brock is real strong. He's used to hunting, hunting everything in sight. That's what Brock loves to do. Let's see. So True Friday shows are stupid. I never watch SmackDown or Rampage on Friday. I'm tuning in the next couple days on demand at my convenience. Yeah, see, exactly, Invincible. That makes sense. But Final Four versus WrestleMania. I would pick WrestleMania any day though over that. But anyway. As far as my rating for AEW Dynamite tonight, guys, AEW Dynamite was absolutely fantastic. It was a great show. And I'm going to say AEW Dynamite for today, Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. Definitely gets the old 10 out of 10 plus right there. And the 2 thumbs up and the big T seal of approval. And there you go. So that's going to do it for me, guys, right here on this episode of Beyond the Ring with Big T. So I will see all you guys next time. And yes, there will be a next time for me right here on Beyond the Ring with Big T. That'll be for your WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage review and result shows and Battle of the Belts review result shows. If I'm doing something on Friday, it'll be sometime on Saturday night. So we'll see what happens going into the weekend. Just stay tuned to my channel and you'll know when streams are coming. Don't forget us and we won't forget you. And of course, if you want the best, and yes, I do mean the absolute best for all of your professional wrestling needs, right here on the internet and right here on YouTube.com today. Always remember to think Beyond the Ring with Big T. And Invincible, good night, man. Thanks for coming in. And then, of course, everybody, as always, thank you very much for watching and listening to your AEW Dynamite review and results show for today, Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. And, of course, everybody, as always remember and never, ever forget that I'm your host, Big T, and that I'll see all of you at the matches. And, of course, that I will see you on either Friday or Saturday night for WWE Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and AEW Battle of the Belts 6 review and results shows. We'll see how that all comes about and how it's going to go. So, take care, everybody. I love you all. And, of course, I'll see you guys on Friday or Saturday. So take care, everybody. I love you all. Thank you, Tony Khan, for a great show. And Lisa, great job. Always a pleasure. Hashtag Justice for Pretty with all the emojis. Thank you, Lisa. I love you. And take care, everybody. I love you all. And, of course, good night, everybody. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah.
M-Dog 20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you were checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T.
Hello, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring, AEW.